Today I'm going to talk about assisted hatching. I thought while I explained a little bit of it, it would be helpful to see what an unassisted hatching looks like. This chick has pipped and it's beginning the zip process. On the large end of the egg, which would be the proper position, there is an air cell in that end of the egg, and prior to pipping, they will break into that air cell, and then they will pip using their egg tooth, after which they will begin turning in the egg, again using that egg tooth to break the shell as they move around in a circle. So then the cap will be pushed off, and that chick will then hatch. That is the way it's supposed to work. It doesn't always work that way. And it doesn't always work that way for various reasons. Humidity could have been off. The chick could be shrink wrapped in there where it cannot turn. It could be malpositioned so that it cannot turn. It could be weak for one reason or another, or it also could have some defect. But you won't know unless you help. I usually give it quite a while, but I do monitor. So about 24 hours before a chick will pip, you start hearing little peeps in there. Same thing with a duckling. You'll hear vocalization within the egg. If you candle the end of the egg, you may be able to observe the beak or bill punched into that air cell that's there before they've actually pipped. So I'm going to monitor that. And if I note that the chick after 24 hours is getting slower, not making as much noise, does not sound like it's as strong, I'm probably going to help at that point. This is another natural hatch. Again, just for reference, this chick has pipped. It is going to zip around the shell. And you can see it's doing a pretty good job. It's kind of a time-lapse video over a period of several hours. And it can take anywhere from a couple hours. Well, I've seen it all across the board. It can go really fast, or it can take quite a while. But again, I think the key thing here is just paying attention to whether the chick is continuing to be strong or if it seems to be fading. And you can check that through candling. You can also check that by listening to the sounds and watching the progress. They will take rests in there, so it's, if they take a short rest and there's no activity, it's not a big deal. If it goes on for an extended period of time, that's when you begin to worry a little bit and you want to monitor a little bit closer. So as you can see, this chick is doing just fine on its own. You see the membranes in there are very clear. There are no blood vessels in those membranes, which would be a good indicator that it is ready to hatch. And it has absorbed the yolk, and the yolk is absorbed through the umbilicus. That will sustain that chick for about 48 hours. They will not need any food or water. That's why chicks can be shipped via United States Postal Service. It also allows a hen who has maybe eggs of slightly different gestational age to be able to hatch all those before she moves from the nest. The early hatchers will be fine underneath her for a little while until everyone else hatches, and then she'll be able to go take them to find food and water. And you can see this little chick is just like they all are, adorable, and doing well. It's chirping there, it's not gasping. Um, as you can see, there it is, drying off a little bit. The drying off process takes, I don't know, it depends. It goes a lot faster under a hen, that's for sure, I think, because of her body warmth and just the friction against her body and her feathers. So it's going to take a little bit longer in the incubator, but they'll dry off and fluff up within a few hours. So the assisted hatching situation will be in the next video, and it was a duckling. For this example, I've had done assisted hatching with both ducklings and chicks. This duckling was rejected by mom. She moved away from the nest. It was a late hatch. And so I grabbed the egg, candled it. I could see that the duckling was still alive. So it went in the incubator. I noticed that it had pipped. And so I just kind of watched it for a while. I could hear it in the egg, and here's the egg after the pip. And I didn't see any progress, so I candled. So you can see the bill in this video poked into the air cell, and you can also see the pip, but it wasn't turning. So I'm like, okay, I will give it some time. So I kept checking it and candling it, and I could see that it was getting weaker. And because it was getting weaker, then I began to peel away using tweezers very carefully and carefully checking to see if there were any blood vessels. I never pull a chick out completely. I will let them rest in the half shell. And I can see, and you can see in this picture, there's a little bit of the yolk at the umbilicus that is not completely absorbed. So I used a wet paper towel there, returned it to the incubator. While I was outside, it kicked out and it bled. But it's doing fine now. And his name is Dewey, or her name, not really sure yet. I think actually it's going to be a female. But so obviously it can be successful. If I had left this duckling, I don't think it would have hatched on its own. For some reason, it was unable to turn. So this is another natural hatch. This one was actually, for some reason, the hen got up right at the moment that this chick was hatching. So I picked up the egg and took a series of photographs as it hatched. When she returned, popped it back under her, and it did just fine. It was kind of an unusual hatch because I had two leghorn hens that shared duties, and they hatched 21 chicks together.